What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel. Now before we get started with today's video, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close and we are now on the road to 500 subs. Who knows, maybe we might hit 500 subs by the end of the year. Only time will tell. But as I have said in previous videos, if this channel does get to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners over at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed. The possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, excuse me, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes to potentially pull my second ever Collector's Rare. It wouldn't be the first time that I pulled a Collector's Rare, because I also pulled this. Freshly pulled out of my Genesis Impact box opening that I did a few months back is a Collector's Rare Beat Cop from the Underworld. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. If you guys missed that video, I recommend you guys check it out. It was absolutely insane to pull this Collector's Rare. Absolutely incredible. So I will be getting it graded at some point. I don't really know when exactly. But with that being said, if you guys want to see those boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which ties into today's video, which is this. What are your guys' thoughts on the new Goblin Riders archetype, and do you think they have a chance to be meta? Let me know down in the comments below, because in today's video I will be talking about the brand new Goblin Riders archetype that will be in the upcoming core set Phantom Nightmare. Now, honestly, looking at this first card, I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical by it. Excuse me. Kind of like how I was with the Testina archetype, but honestly, the Testina archetype, it's, as I said in yesterday's episode of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, it has the potential to be a very powerful deck when built correctly, and I tested it out with the frogs. It has some potential, but it still needs a little bit of work. So hopefully excuse me. Hopefully I can do some more work on the deck, and maybe, just maybe, give the deck a few tweaks, and then I'll do a deck profile on it. But this archetype is actually kind of crazy, because it's basically a warrior. It's like a warrior, beast warrior fiend. it's multiple monster types, and it's it's an Xyz based deck that lets you just do a bunch of shit, just like every other archetype in the game. So hopefully you guys are ready for this video, and hang on, guys. Okay, all right. Sorry, guys. Something came up on my fucking laptop for some reason. Some shit came up on my laptop for some dumb reason. Excuse me. So first up, we have Goblin Rider Doug the Assaulter, which is a 3-star Earth Warrior with 1600 attack, 0 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads, if this card is in your hand, you can detach one Xyz material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card. Second effect reads, if this card is no more special summon, you can add one Goblin Rider spell trap from your deck to your hand. So not only is this a Cyber Dragon, but this is also your spell and trap rota for the whole deck. Basically, you can detach a material from a monster on the field, meaning either your board, or your opponent's, and then you could just automatically side draw this card right off the bat, and then use its second effect in sequence to add pretty much any Goblin Rider spell trap to your hand, which I believe there's actually a few. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 at the moment. At the moment, there's only 3, but for the most part, you're mainly gonna want to add the field spell, because by adding the field spell, you basically have full combo right there. So your end board could literally just be a variety of things, which is absolutely nuts. That card right there, my opinion, hands down 3 of. It's a hands down 3 of. No cap. It's probably one of the best combo starters you could possibly have. Just all because it's a Cyber Dragon spell and trap rota. Not much else to say about that. Next up, we have Goblin Rider Clutter the Noisy, which is a 3-star Fire Beast Warrior with 1500 attack, 0 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target one Goblin monster in your grave except this card, special summon it. So ironically enough, I think the other Goblin, like Goblin, what's the one? Excuse me, I'm trying to think. What, Giant Orc? The Giant Orc line? I think that could actually be useful in this archetype. I'm not entirely sure, but I know that you can add cards like I think it's cards like Goblin Attack Force, because it's literally goblin. They're goblins. I mean I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I don't know. It's possible that this card could add Goblin Attack Force, or Goblin Elite Squad, or Elite Attack Force, or whatever. It's possible that this card could add those cards to your could add those cards to your board, but I don't think it does. If it does, that would be hilarious. But not much else to say about that first effect. Second effect reads, during your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your grave as a quick effect, you can detach one material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So ironically enough, the only way to bypass that is if you used this monster as Xyz material, and because they have a bunch of level 3s, you can just instantly go into a rank 3 Xyz, which I think you can go into cards like Giga Brilliant and something else. I think Mech-Quipped Engineer, and then just go into Chaos Xyz Mech-Quipped General, So that's a pretty nasty line right there. I mean, it's possible. Not much else to say about that, honestly. Except, holy shit, this archetype. I don't know. Honestly, I'm a bit skeptical by it. I think it's more. I think this archetype is more suited for like YCS and maybe locals, but in the line of like nationals, regionals, and worlds and UDS, there's no shot. This archetype has no shot of going up against those kinds of decks, because with those kinds of decks, with that type of level, if you will, you got decks like Salmon Grain, Sky Striker. You got decks like Kashtira, Runic, and those are like high tier decks. This deck is more of like a rogue deck, and it's possible it could make its way into like nationals and whatnot, but only time will tell. Only time will tell. Next up, we have Goblin Rider Boone the Mach Speed, which is a 3-star Wind Warrior with 1300 attack, 0 defense, and the effect reads during the main phase, if this card is in your hand or grave, you can, as a quick effect, you cannot special summon monsters. You cannot special summon this card until the end of the next turn. Also, detach one material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card. Excuse me. So again, this is basically a Cyber Dragon, but the thing is that it can oftentimes miss timing. Obviously, when you have a card, when you have a monster that has a when this card effect, cards, you guys know, cards like those can oftentimes miss timing. 9 times out of 10, it'll miss timing and you won't be able to go full combo. With this card, it's sort of like the same way, because it has a if this card effect, meaning oftentimes it's a hand trap, and cards like Call By, cards like Mind Drain are gonna oftentimes be, and even also Soul Drain are gonna be some of the most problematic floodgates that can combat against a deck like this. So obviously you gotta chain back row removal. Cards like Cosmic Cyclone, cards like MST. I know that MST is a classic, old school, but you can never go wrong with old school. Cards like Heavy Storm Duster, Dust Tornado is another really good, is another classic. Just cards in general, back row removal cards in general that can stop cards like Soul Drain, cards like Mind Drain, and even cards like Call By at the most. Call By, I think the only way you could stop Call By is if you had a card like Spell Canceller. So the idea would be like call the haunted, target Spell Canceller, special summon the Spell Canceller, Call By is negated. Or use cross out Designator, or even Forbidden Droplet. Droplet is still used a lot in today's meta, especially going up against Kashtira, Tier Limit, and also Runic decks as well. So those are some pretty cool options that can work with this deck to combat against the heavy floodgate decks, especially Eldritch. Eldritch is another deck that is literally nothing but floodgates. Not much else to say about that. Although I might have to try Eldritch. I want to see how good that deck really is. I never got the chance to work with that deck, so I might try that out. If you guys, you know what? If you guys have a really good recipe for for Eldritch? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll check it out. I'm very curious about that. But this card, but this card again, as I just said, oftentimes whenever a card, especially like this, has a when or a if effect, nine times out of 10 it'll definitely miss timing. So you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that. Next up, we have Goblin Rider Meanda the Cold-Blooded, which is a 3-star water fiend with 1400 attack, 0 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads if this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon one goblin monster from your hands except this card. Second effect reads if this card is in your grave, you can detach one material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. It has a sort of like kind of like a really weird like cyber rev system like effect, where instead of summoning from the hand or graveyard, it's just from the hand. So I guess in a way it's kind of like a Goblin Bird. It kind of has an effect similar to Goblin Bird, where you normal summon Goblin Bird, trigger its effect, special summon another monster from your hand, boom, you basically have an Exceed summon right off the bat. This card basically does exactly that, which is pretty cool. Next up, we move into the extra deck. So there's only like maybe 2 or 3, and the first one is Goblin Rider Big Head Gabonga. Yeah, Gabonga. Quite the interesting name, huh? Huh, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. Very funny. Very funny. It's just so stupid, you guys. I don't know. Anyway, it's a rank 3 light beast warrior Exceeds with 2100 attack, 0 defense, and acquires 2 level 3 monsters, and it has 3 separate effects, all of which are once per turn. The first effect reads, if this card is Exceed summon, you can add 1 goblin monster from your deck to your hand. This is basically your Stratos. This is your Stratos right here. Do I even need to say anything else about that effect? Except it gets hit with an Ash Blossom, or you get hit with Drone Lockbird. One or the other. Second effect reads if an Exceeds material is detached from monsters on the field, you can target one other face-up monster on the field, attach it to this card as material. So ironically enough, cards like Overlay Regen and even also Exceeds Import are going to be probably some of the most problematic cards that your opponent will have, because Exceeds Import is a really great way to break your opponent's board and just attach one of your opponent's monsters to your Exceeds monsters as material, which gives you more materials for Zeus or for anti-Zeus, if you will. Which actually, that card in which the anti-Zeus, it's pretty fucking nasty. It's a nasty card, nasty effect. Nuff said. The third effect reads, during each end phase, you can attach 1 goblin monster from your deck to this card as material. So again, this card basically just helps make Zeus even more dangerous than it ever was. Next up, we have Goblin's Crazy Beast, which is a rank 6 Dark Fiend Exceeds with 2700 attack, 0 defense, and acquires 2 or more level 6 monsters. And the third effect is a once per turn. The first effect... Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. Is a once per duel. Is a once per duel. The first effect reads, once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target 1 spell trap on the field, detach 2 materials from monsters on the field, and if you do, attach that card to this card as material. Funny enough, you can actually you could actually detach materials off of your opponent's like Utopia or something, and that would be just that would just be the end of Utopia. Plain simple. It's funny. It's funny, but that right there is a pretty nasty effect. Again, cards like Gabunga and this card are easy ways to help make Zeus better. So obviously you are gonna be running level 6 monsters. In fact, I don't know what level 6 monsters you could go in, what level 6s you could use in this deck. I'll have to take a look later on, but that's actually pretty cool. Second effect reads if a monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach one material from this card instead. So this basically has an effect similar to Return of the Dragon Lords, where it can just protect your cards from being destroyed by battle or card effect. And in this case, it's by card effect, and that's actually pretty good. It's a nice little disruption on board, which is really nice. The third effect says if this card is in your grave, you can special summon it. Then you can attach one goblin monster from your grave to it as material. Again, basically help you make again. This card can easily make Zeus. Gabunga is probably the main card that you're gonna want to use to go into Zeus because you're gaining more and more materials with each passing turn, which is pretty fucking crazy. Next up, we have the spells and traps. So we have Grand Gathering of the Goblin Riders, which is a continuous spell, and the third effect is a once per turn. The first effect says Goblin monsters you control gain 300 attack for each Goblin monster you control. Second effect reads, during your main phase, you can normal summon one Goblin monster in addition to your normal summoner set, and you can only gain this effect once per turn. The third effect says you can target two Goblin monsters you control and have that have a level to activate one of these effects. The level of one of them becomes the level of the other. Their levels become their total original levels. So ironically enough, this card is a great way to take two of your level 3 monsters and double their levels to make them 6, and you're able to go into your Goblin's Crazy Beast, which that's pretty broken. That's just broken on its own. Next up, we have Grand Entrance of the Goblin Riders, which is a normal spell, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads, add one Goblin monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can detach one material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon one level 4 or lower Goblin monster from your hand. Second effect reads you can banish this card from your grave, detach one material from a monster on the field, then you can add a Goblin monster from your grave to your hand. Ironically enough, this card has effects that are polar opposite of one another. The first effect is a Rhoda, and the second effect is a monster reincarnation. So you have probably two of the most broken cards of Go format. Because if you guys weren't aware, during the days of like Chaos format and Go format and whatnot, you had Reinforcement of the Army and Monster Reincarnation, two of the most broken cards of that time. During the days of Go format, and even also like Chaos format and Chaos Go and whatnot, you were using literally multiple copies of both Rhoda and Monster Reincarnation. This card right here, it's as if you had 3 copies of Rhoda and 3 copies of Monster Reincarnation. So it's basically like, it's as if you have 6 copies of like both cards. Like 3 copies of both cards. So that's a total of six cards you potentially have, which is pretty crazy. And now for the final card in today's video, we have Goblin Rider Stampede, which is a continuous trap, and both of its effects are a hard once per turn. And the first effect reads, during the main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, exceed summon using only Goblin monsters you control as material. Second effect reads, if you control a Goblin Exceeds monster, you can target one effect monster on the field, detach one material from a monster on the field, and if you do, negate that target's effects until the end of the turn. So not only are you allowed to Exceed summon just right off the bat, but this card is basically a continuous imper. Enough said. Not much else to say about this archetype. The only thing I will say though is this archetype is going to be it's going to be interesting to say the very least. Whether or not this archetype has the potential to be a meta deck does remain to be seen. We are still missing a bunch of cards that will be coming out of Phantom Nightmare. So I will be talking about those new cards over time, but who knows? Maybe this archetype has the potential, but only time will tell. But that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more card discussions in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.